You might have seen a lot of news about returning to the office where companies are telling workers to start commuting back, and even some people might have to move cities if they relocated away from the office when they started working from home. But remote work is still in demand, and there are resources you can use to find your next remote job. One of the reasons why I love remote work so much is you save so much time by not having to deal with getting ready to head into work, commuting, sitting in traffic. You're able to get the best of both worlds. Working from home while having the time flexibility to do chores around the house like clean or cook while you work. Maybe you have family, you're able to spend more time with your kids. But also, while you're working during slow times, you could do side hustles, you could trade stocks, you can also just work on improving yourself, gaining new skills through self learning. You really have so much available time from not having to commute or not having to deal with getting ready to head into an office. And sure, there's not crazy demand for remote work like there was back in 2019, 2020 when every single company was trying to hire remote, but the remote job market is stabilizing and there's still opportunities out there that companies are looking for to hire remote workers. Like I mentioned earlier, people that are forced to go back into the office, they're most likely applying for remote work as well just to get that flexibility back into their lives. So there is higher competition now, but that just means getting creative with your job search for your next remote role. For example, AI is being used in the recruiting process now, where recruiting teams are using AI to screen resumes. So, this means that keyword optimization is very important. You want your resume to match your job posting as closely as possible, so that way the AI can determine who it thinks is the closest match to start passing those resumes along to the recruiter to reach out to start scheduling interviews. And hybrid roles are still an option where it's a little bit of work from the office and work from home. But make sure if you're looking for a hybrid role that this favors you, where the office isn't a long commute away from you, and that the team doesn't enforce the work from the office policy that strictly, where if you miss a couple office days, it's not the end of the world, and that you're only going in 1 to 2 days per week. So you still have 3 days of working from home to give you the greatest flexibility. So, the first big step is having a remote friendly career path or trying to get into a remote friendly career path. So, if you're going to school for IT or if you're already in IT, software engineering, data analytics, cloud engineering, DevOps, product management, business analysis, these are all good examples of corporate functions in tech that companies are hiring for that are fully remote. And if you're not into tech, if you're into marketing, for example, learning SEO, which is search engine optimization, if you know user interface or user design, where you're able to hold surveys, for example, or just know how people interact with websites for the most optimized experience, or being able to create graphics and getting into graphic design, those are also good functions. And there's also customer facing roles like customer service or customer success and account management, which gets a little bit into the sales side of things if you're doing account management for clients of the company, or also being a personal assistant and executive assistant. Sometimes this requires maybe travel if you have to be on site with whoever you're assisting to coordinate, let's say, like meetings or events. But these are also still good ways to get into a remote position. And any other corporate functions that you can think of, like human resources, finance and accounting, consulting, research and development, or even project management. I feel like when a lot of people think of a typical corporate job, it involves a lot of emails and meetings, which is somewhat accurate. And a lot of these emails or meetings you can do at home over the internet. So, whatever career path you're in, you need to make sure that your resume reflects that you're an effective remote worker. Being able to highlight tools like Microsoft Teams, using Zoom, using Slack, project management tools like Jira or Confluence or Trello, you're able to highlight that you're able to use these tools effectively, either leading remote teams or just working within a remote team. Also, being able to highlight that you're a self starter where you take on initiatives before somebody directly tells you to do so. In an office, your boss is pretty much watching you. They can talk to you anytime and even micromanage you, so they're always giving you tasks. Remote work, you don't have that level of supervision or micromanagement that you would get in an office. So really, you're trying to find inefficiencies, how you can make your job easier, how you can make your job better, and improve the overall function that you're providing for this company. And also highlight your career path specific skills on your resume. If you're in data analysis, if you know SQL, Power BI, or other data visualization tools, maybe you know DBMS systems like Snowflake. If you're in human resources, if you know ATSs or the applicant tracking systems like Workday, or maybe ticket management like ServiceNow, where requests are coming in and you and your team are just processing ticket after ticket. Showing competency in those tools can be very beneficial if that specific team is using that exact tool. And then you want to highlight the outcomes and the results on your resume. So if you're creating bullet points on your resume about using AI, don't just say you know how to type a prompt into ChatGPT. Explain how you're able to get work done faster with ChatGPT, or use AI to automate workflows, which might have been more manual in the past before AI, and now you're saving time, you're making less errors. And you can keep tweaking your resume. Use resources like jobscan.co that can compare your resume to a job posting on how effective the match would be. But once you have a resume, the next step is creating a LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities. You get access to the LinkedIn job board, which allows you to filter for remote jobs. And on some of the postings, you're able to see who posted the job. So you can reach out directly, make an introduction, and finally have a face-to-face connection with somebody that's hiring. You can also search through the LinkedIn post using like hashtags to see who's hiring, connect with other people where they might be able to refer you to a position within their company. Having a hiring manager put a face to someone after you make an introduction is so much better than cold applying to jobs where you're just spamming your resume to every single job listing that you come across that you think you might remotely be a good fit for. LinkedIn is a great resource, but that's just one of many. You can use other remote job boards like We Work Remotely, Remotive, Remote OK, FlexJobs, Indeed, where you can filter for remote positions. Glassdoor is also another good one where you can filter remote jobs, see what people are rating the positions, get insights into the interview process. You can also use Slack or Discord groups. Slack is essentially Discord, just the more professional business version of it. With Slack, you might be able to find digital nomad groups or even remote working groups where people are just sharing their experiences. Maybe they have positions within their company that they can refer you to as well. But I will say with Slack groups, it's probably better for short-term assignments and just building relationships, which in corporate or just any part of life, relationships are key. Like if you're into user design, for example, if you see somebody on Slack post something about creating a website and they need somebody to just spot check how their design looks or give feedback on their website design, you can give feedback, create a mock-up potentially on how to make it better, and now you're building a relationship with that person where they might want you to help out in the future or even provide consulting services on other projects that they're working on. Even though you're working for somebody else, if you take on a remote job, always remember you're building a personal brand for yourself. Highlight achievements from company work or projects that you're going to be brought onto. Build a portfolio, start showcasing to potential freelance clients where you can earn more money that way. Also make LinkedIn posts or create blog posts about your industry, about trends that you're seeing, about what kind of work that's going on that competitors are doing or that you're trying to learn. Also, get involved in your niche. Like if you're a software engineer, go to coding meetups once in a while. One of my coworkers does this. He'll head out to coding meetups in his city, which that helps him stay relevant to others within the industry, other software engineers, where you're able to make those connections, potentially get referrals to their company if they're hiring on their team or within another team within the company. He also makes LinkedIn posts showing that he's involved in these meetups. It stands out to HR and headhunters if they're scanning LinkedIn posts to see who they want to recruit, if they have any open positions. And then also I've seen his LinkedIn, he gets a lot of messages from recruiters just because he's very engaged within software engineering and he's making posts about this. He's highlighting trends that he's seeing, new technologies that other companies are using. So it definitely makes you stand out above the rest. So to conclude, remote work isn't going away. For me, this offers the greatest flexibility in my life, and you get the best of both worlds to multitask your job with personal projects. Just make sure you're getting the work done because at the end of the day, most companies aren't tracking how productive each hour out of your 40-hour work week are, but they're really trying to see the results that you're producing and within a reasonable time frame. For me, each week is different on the amount of effort I'm putting in depending on my work goals, but I'm always able to meet my expectations and deliver on project deadlines without having to be micromanaged, which builds trust with my team knowing I'm effective at working from home. If there are any additional questions you may have or questions about the resources I mentioned in this video, then leave a comment below and I'll respond. I hope you're able to find value in this video, and I would love to know where you're at in your job hunting journey. I'll see you in the next video.